Good morning, Primary 6. I'm Mrs. Rania, your math teacher. Today we will study adding and subtracting integers. Let's see how could we add or subtract integers on the number line. We have two sides on the number line, right side and left side. And in the middle, it will be the 0. Right side represent all the positive integers and the left side represent all the negative integers. So, if I want to add positive integers, I'll move to the right side. While if I want to add negative integers, what should I do? I should move to the left side. Okay? So 6 plus 3 equal 9. I'll start from 0 to go to the 6. After that, I'll move 3 steps to the right. It will be 9. While if I adding negative 6 plus 3, I'll start from 0 and I'll go to reach negative 6. After that, I'll go to the right 3 steps. It will be negative 3. The last example here, negative 6 plus negative 3. I'll start from 0 and I'll reach negative 6. After that, I'll go to the left side another 3 steps. It will be negative 9. So, here we have some rules to make it more easier. When we adding two positive integers, the answer must be positive. So 2 plus 3 equals 5. I'll start from 0 each time and I'll reach the first integer. After that, I'll add or subtract according to our operations. Number 2, adding two negative numbers. If I'm adding two negative numbers, the answer must be negative integer. Okay, so negative 2 plus negative 4, the answer will be negative 6. Here, if I have two different sign integers, if I am adding two integers which having two different signs, what should I do? Okay, our first step, I must take the difference between them. Okay? I'll take the difference between them. After that, I'll give the result the sign of the greater integers. Okay? So, for example, if I have 8 plus negative 2, take the difference between 8 and 2 only. Okay? It look like 8 minus 2. The answer will be 6. Okay? Second step, look to this integer, 8 and 2. Which number here is greater? The 8. So, the sign of the 8 was positive. So, the answer must be positive. So, the answer here is positive 6. Letter B, negative 5 plus 2. I have two different signs, negative 5 and positive 2. I'll take the difference between them. It look like 5 minus 2. Okay? It will be 3. So, this 3 will take which sign? Ask yourself, 5 is greater or 2? The 5, of course, is greater. The sign of the 5 was negative sign. So, I'll give the result the negative sign. So, the answer will be negative 3. Here, to summarize all of these rules, here we will say, adding two positive integers, the answer will be always positive. While adding two negative integers, the answer will always be negative. Adding one positive integer and another negative integer, the answer will be according to our two steps. I'll take the difference between them, so I'll give the answer the sign of the greater number. Okay? Find the result of the following. Number 1, 9 plus negative 5 equals. We said if I have two different signs, I'll take the difference between them, which is 4. Now ask yourself, 9 is greater or 5? 9, of course. So the 9 was positive integer. So the answer will be positive. Another example, negative 14 plus 9 equals. Here the difference between them, 5. 14 is greater than 9. I'll take the sign of 14, which is negative sign, and I'll give it to the result. It will be negative 5. Negative 7 plus negative 5 equals. Here I have two negative integers and I'm adding them. If I have same sign, I'll add and put the same sign. So the answer here, it will be negative 12. Last example, 12 plus 10, two positive integers, add them as the usual. It will be positive 22. Let's see some properties of addition operation in integers. At the beginning, we will start with the closure property, which means the answer must be found inside this set. If I'm adding any two integers, the answer or the result of them must be found inside this set. For example, a plus b equals c. If c belong to the integers and a and b to belong to the integers. For example, if I'm adding 2 plus 3, the answer will be 5. So this 5, I could find it inside the integer set. It couldn't be 5.5 or 5 and a quarter. So the answer must be a whole number, and all the whole numbers must be positive or negative or the 0. So it's closed under the integers. Number 2, the commutative property. Here, the sum of any two integers didn't change if I change the place of these integers, which means a plus b equals b plus a. So, if I change or if I switch the place of these integers, the answer will stay as it is. Number 3, the associative property. Here, what is the meaning of associative? Associative, it means if I'm grouping the integers, if I make grouping from these integers, the answer will stay as it is. So, if I said a plus b plus c equals the group of a plus b plus the c, and it equals a plus the sum of the group of b plus c. Number 4, the additive identity element. Of course, all of you remember it from the previous year. We said before, the additive identity element is the 0. Why? Because if I add 0 to any integer, the answer will stay the same integer. For example, if I add 0 plus negative 8, the answer will stay negative 8. If I'm adding 0 to 14, the answer will stay 14. So the additive element here or the neutral element here is 0. Number 5, the additive inverse property. Here is a new property because we have a new sign. We said each number has its inverse. So when I'm talking about the additive inverse, so I'm talking about the inverse of the integer. So for example, if I'm adding negative 5 plus 5, the answer will be 0. If I'm adding 14 plus negative 14, the answer will be 0, which means the adding of the two inverse integer must be 0. The last thing here, the additive inverse of 0 is 0. Don't switch the sign. We said all the integers have inverse to it except the 0, because 0 is not positive and not negative. Okay, let's see subtracting integers. How could we subtract integers? Subtracting any two integers, it will look like as a minus b. It can be written in a different form, like a plus negative b. Okay, I could switch the sign, which means 6 minus 8 equals 6 plus negative 8. In both ways, the answer will be negative 2. Okay. Here, let's see the properties of subtraction under integers. The subtraction operation is always possible in integers, because if I'm subtracting any two numbers, any two integers, the answer will be integer 2. A minus b equals c when c is belong to the integer, which means any two integers, when I'm subtracting them, the answer will be for sure belong to the set of z. Number 2, subtracting operation is not commutative. Why? Because if I said 8 minus 3 equals 5, but if I switch the places and I put it like 3 minus 8, the answer will be negative 5. Ask yourself, 5 and the negative 5, are they equal? Of course not. So the answer here changed. So they are not commutative. Number 3, subtraction operation is not associative in Z, which means if I change the groups, the answer will be changed. Here, the group of 8 minus 4 minus 1 equals 8 minus 4 equal 4. Minus 1 equals 3. But if I change the place of the bracket, it will be 8 minus the group of 4 minus 1. 4 minus 1 equals 3. So 8 minus 3 equals 5. And of course, 3 is not equal to the 5. Here, our example from your school book. Use the properties of addition operation in Z to find the result of the following. Letter A, negative 120 plus 17 plus 131. Here, don't use your calculator to find this answer because I asked you to use the properties of addition. So, you must use these properties and write the name of each property. Here, I'll switch or change the place of the numbers. Anything, any order. So I'll start with, for example, 131 plus 17 minus 120. When I'm changing the order of the numbers or when I'm changing the place of the integers, here I use the commutative property. Now I'll make a group from first two numbers, which are group of 131 plus 17 minus 120. This property is called associative property. The answer from the first group will be 148 minus 120 equals 28. 28, of course, belongs to the integers. So the last property is closure property. Letter B, 2015 plus 180 plus negative 1015. Now, I must use the property. I'll start by switching the numbers, a place of the numbers. 2015 plus negative 1015 plus 180. When I change the place, it's called commutative property. Now, make a group from first two integers. It will be 2015 plus 1015 plus negative 1015 plus 180. This property is called associative property. Find the answer from the bracket. It will be 1000 plus 180. The final answer will be 1180. This integer is belong to the integers, so we're using the closure property. I think it's a very, very easy lesson. Thank you all and see you soon.